Hey everybody, this is Edward. Yay! Thank you for your patience. It's been a week or so. I mean, I know it's been a week or so, but it's been a week or so, if you know what I mean. My allergies are not bothering me as much today, and I'm not having to do the job hunt as much thing today because I think that I got a couple leads. I'm just waiting to hear back on those. And school is done for the moment. So, okay, here I am. Yay! Okay, so let's just start the music.
There's no need to fear. Underdog is here.
Tiny whiny stuff.
Okay, so I've been missing for a little while, and as has Joseph. And I have to admit, it's all me. It's all me. Joseph was ready to do it last week, and I just was not. Between allergies kicking my butt, and not finding a job kicking my butt, and having to finish up school because it was the final week of that class kicking my butt, and so many other things just kicking my butt, I was not even able to pretend to be in the mood. So, ta-da! But this week is looking better. I've already, at this moment, as long as nothing unforeseen happens, have set up at least a 4-day job for next week. And they're shopping me out. I'm waiting to hear back on an interview for another position, so yay, keep your fingers crossed. That class is done. I don't start another class until next Monday, so yay on that as well. Although the next class is going to be the first of the classes that are going to probably start kicking my ass a little bit in a completely different way than this last class did, because I don't have to try to be, figure out my goals or be inspirational like I did for this last class. What the fuck kind of class is that? I apologize. Mickey, do not use that sort of language in just casual conversation. Just realize your uncle has been having a week, okay? But now I have to actually start learning business stuff, and I don't know business stuff. What the heck? So everything is actually kind of going somewhat smoothly right now. Hence, here I am. I'm in a much better mood. I'm a little sweaty because I had to turn the fan off, because otherwise you hear all that noise. It doesn't go. I don't know why I went. It doesn't make that noise at all. So this is Wednesday, and it's normally our more personal, hey, how you doing day. But my personal, hey, how you doing, has been basically job hunting, school, and laying around because I don't feel well. So I have not figured out anything in life for anything right now. So I'm just gonna pick up not where we left off. I'm just gonna make a new start. Yeah, that's what happens. Sometimes you just start from a whole new spot, and that's what I'm doing. I got a couple things I'm going to share with you, and one of them is a little personal. Yeah, one's a little personal, because, we got that relationship. We do. First off, the roommate and I saw the movie Interstellar. I will probably write up a review and post that on the Facebook page. I will try to avoid spoilers, but if there are any spoilers, then I will mark it spoilers. Don't read past that because I told you. Good movie. Very good movie. I am amazed at how many places are offering to explain the ending of the movie, because in my opinion, this is the most straightforward Christopher Nolan movie in a long time, okay? It's more straightforward than his Batman movies were. I am not a huge Christopher Nolan fan. I did enjoy the first Batman movie. I liked Inception. I liked The Prestige. But at the same time, hey, I did not like the second two Batman movies. I did not like Dark Knight or Dark Knight Rises or whatever. While the Joker was interesting, that was not the Joker. It was an interesting character, but he was just a terrorist. That wasn't the Joker, and as such, that was one of the worst Joker movies I've ever seen. And then the other one, I don't know. There is just no way to ever make Bane interesting. Ever. And amazingly enough, wow, what a craptastic ending. So, But Interstellar, very good movie. I can tell you kind of the setup without spoiling anything. You got Matthew McConaughey. He used to work for NASA. Apparently had been training to go up in rockets, but there was a world crisis, not just a United States crisis, but a world crisis that was some sort of blight that's affecting the grains, and the population is dying of starvation, basically, because there's just not enough food. All wheat has been declared non-viable. Okra, at the beginning of this movie, non-viable. I thought it was weird that they went with okra as the next one, but not rye or rice, or no explanation for other crops like that, but okay. Okra. And then corn is still viable, but it looks like it won't be in the near future. There's a virus. It basically is going to end up filling the atmosphere with nitrogen. It's going to suck up all the oxygen. And so the people who don't starve are going to end up suffocating. America has, and the world has given up on the space program, even going so far as to declaring it a myth that we had not landed on the moon. And because why give people that sort of weird false story or false hope type story when it's much more important for them to focus on farming? Secretly, NASA has continued to exist, and they have a project where they plan on they basically want to populate another planet. There's a wormhole that has opened up outside, I think outside of Saturn, and there may be viable planets on the other side of that. We need to go check it out. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but from the rest of that, it involves Matthew McConaughey's character having to leave behind his family and go with this team to the other side of a wormhole, and that's pretty much it. It's a very straightforward movie along those lines. Scientifically, wow, they actually did a really good job. There's a moment, well, the physics is sound, okay? There are time issues, but that's to be expected. That should happen. So I guess that's maybe part of what's confusing people are the time issues, but that's what happens when you travel through space. Relativity just takes over. There's one question I had scientifically, and that is, and it has little to do with physics. It actually had to do with the blight, and it's never addressed. But they're burning the crops that have the blight. And a little part of me was thinking, if it's sucking up all the oxygen and replacing it with nitrogen, do you want to burn the blight and have all the remaining oxygen and start bonding oxygen with carbon molecules? Or is there a better way that you want to handle getting rid of the plants that have the blight? I don't know. This one, I don't know. That one, maybe burning it is the best option. Anne Hathaway is in it. She's okay. That's all I got to say about Anne Hathaway. She's okay. Michael Caine is in it, as is, oh, man, I cannot think of his name. Michael Caine, and I am quickly searching through trying to find the, wow, why can I not find his name? John Lithgow. There we go. John Lithgow. I am horrible with names. That's how come I had to pull this up on the side. Michael Caine and John Lithgow are in it. With Matthew McConaughey, we're looking at fantastic performances from all three of them. There's a moment when Michael Caine and John Lithgow are sharing a scene together, and I'm like, oh, look, it's the Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Because Michael Caine originated the part in the movie, and then John Lithgow, I believe, originated the part on Broadway. So that was kind of nice. And it's just a really good movie. They actually had a physicist who was an advisor and I believe co-writer on the film. So, and he actually gets kind of a little bit of a shout out in the movie. There's a robot called Kip, and that actually is the name of the physicist. You'll end up falling probably in love with the robot TARS, because Bill Irwin does the voice there, and TARS is just a fascinating little robot. That there's a whole bunch of questions involving TARS. That's not the point of the movie, but man, you just walk away with a whole bunch of questions about TARS. And it's a good movie. Very good movie. Has actually an emotional heart to it, which is not something you normally think of with blah, 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 Christopher Nolan movies. So, if anything, I actually found the emotional heart to be the part that made me, like, that actually bothered me a little bit as far as plot and everything goes. But that would get into spoiler territory, and we're not going to go there. And that could be just me, because the rest of the audience didn't seem to care, and I don't believe the roommate that dare not speak his name seemed to care. So that could be just me. Okay? Go see it. Okay? You've already had your chance to go see Big Hero 6. If you haven't, like, go catch it. It'll be on DVD soon or whatever. Go see Interstellar. Give it some love. It's no surprise that Big Hero 6 won out over the weekend, but still, go see Interstellar. Go see it in IMAX, because it's a big, epic movie and deserves some IMAX treatment. Okay? So, that is my Interstellar movie review of sorts. Like I said, I may write up a better review and post that on the Facebook page. So, check that out. I will tweet it also if the Facebook page review goes up. I have recently discovered, if you have a half-price books near you, which if you're in another country or in some other part of the United States, you maybe don't. They, though, are a bookstore that sells books at half price. See, that's how that works. They do sell new books at, like, not half price. Okay, so you can get new books there, and they will mark things down below half price, and they have videos and DVDs and stuff like that. Okay, so in many ways they're a used bookstore, but they also are a place where you could just get things that for some reason aren't moving. And I guess these were not moving, and that's a shame. This is a shame, it's a shame, it's a shame, because these are truly lovely. They are from an English company called, it's initialed PS, what is this? PS Artworks. Art books. Okay. So there you go. PS Art books. And this one, it's a hardback book, and I got 2 of them. There's a whole set of these things. This is from an old comic book company called ACG. I believe that's American Comics Group. They actually put out quite a few comics for a long time, okay, from like the 40s through the 60s. And this is Out of the Night, which is their like a supernatural thriller book. It has issues 1 through 6 of Out of the Night, and comic books carried a lot more pages then, okay? And then this one is Planet Comics, and it has issues 1 through 4 of Planet Comics, and that's even larger than the other one. These are just gorgeous books. They reprint the original stories, and okay, the original stories, the artwork is questionable many times, the story itself is questionable, but there are moments of gold, and this is comic book history here. The one for Planet Comics has a foreword by Carmine Infantino, who is a comic book legend. It also features in the 3rd issue a story with a woman called Amazona, who is a woman of a race of people who are just like superior fit people, and she decides to come to America, for lack of a better way of describing it, and she's like no nonsense, okay? She beats up a car. She beats up a taxi driver for making a snide comment, and then beats up his taxi. And then she stops some crooks, all while wearing a red gown. And all a couple years prior to a certain Amazon that we are all familiar with. Also, there's another character which I find, which has an adventure in every issue so far, and I just find him to be just a little too entertaining, shall we say, if for no other reason than his name. And that is Spurt Hammond. Spurt Hammond. I don't even know why someone would think, as a joke, that the name Spurt Hammond is a good name, but Spurt Hammond, and I am getting a kick out of the Flint Baker stories. They're just simple adventure stories, but entertaining. Very much in the vein of like Buck Rogers or something like that. And where is that one I was looking for? I must have misread it because I was getting them confused. But there's a whole bunch of these also. There's another one that I would love to find. They didn't have it, and if you guys can find it, I will get it, and we'll talk about figuring out how to get it to me. Because it's volume 1 of the collection of The Heap. Also volume 1, and The Heap is like the original comic book swamp creature, like Swamp Thing or Man Thing. They also has volume 1 of Phantom Lady, who was a comic book heroine who had a series for a long time and was big in the good girl art that was very prevalent at that time period. One of the reasons why there was a book written called Seduction of the Innocent that talked about the sexualization of comic books is because of the good girl art that happened with those, with Phantom Lady and the Black Cat, and then also the whole thing with Wonder Woman tying people up. And then suddenly comic books are on trial in Washington, D.C., and people are burning comic books across the country. So these are of historical significance, and like I said, they're fun. They're fun. They're not, like I'd say easily 75% of it's not good. But fun, and enjoyable in a certain more innocent way. That's a good way of putting it. So go hunt these down if you can. If you can't get them there, you know what? They're worth it. DC and Marvel both put out hardback copies of like their books, like starting with issue 1 of Spider-Man onward, or issue 1 of Superman, or whatever. And those run usually around $50. These run about the same. I actually find these a little bit more worth it. The Superman ones and the Spider-Man ones, I can get those reprinted anywhere. This is the only way I'm going to find these comics. Okay, and they're not running that expensive at half-price books. They're not even running at half price at half-price books. Okay, these are considerable markdowns. So these are things that were just overstocked, that for some reason they couldn't sell them. Possibly because they're not Spider-Man or Superman. So that is that. Definitely go look for those if you can. And like I said, they're on Amazon. You can pay full price for them on Amazon. But hey, if you happen to have a place like Half Price Books, or another place that happens to get overstock books or surplus books, check them out. They may have it. Okay? One of the tasks that actually took a back seat while I was taking care of the fact that I felt like crap and I had to do school and I had to look for a job was that I also had to finish writing something, which I am very proud to say I finished 2 days ago. Yay. Submitted it to my crit partner, who now, I don't know if she has time because she's busy with other stuff. So I may have to submit it to my mentor as is, and I'm going to have to write up this other stuff first before I do that, because we were supposed to read romance books. And so I had that homework I have to write up, and I got my story written up, which I really like my story, even though there's things I would like to fix. But it's a moment of like, you know what? Write it, let it go, and let your crit partner figure out things. And then maybe things that I think need to be fixed don't need to be fixed. So we'll find out. But I found out, not found out, I knew this. I already was an author. Yes. I wrote a book in 1982, which I believe was 6th grade. Attack of the Giant Green Fuzzy Thing. Dun, da, da. And it is a small... We had Young Authors Day. Okay? And everybody had to... as part of your English class, you had to write a story or whatever. And then the English teachers got together and they selected certain ones to be published as in Young Authors Day. And my first story that I did in 5th grade did not get selected. It was a mystery involving stolen jewelry. And the pets of the house decided to go solve the mystery. And even after it was turned down, even in 5th grade, I was able to figure out, you know what? I needed to describe much more action because it was very heavy on the dialogue. Many scenes were nothing but dialogue between all the pets. And there was a cat and a parrot and a dog and a tarantula and I think a snake. Might have been a lizard. I think a snake. And they solved the crime. They found the missing jewelry. But, like I said, there was way too much dialogue, and so it did not get chosen, because it was hard to follow the story when there's pretty much just dialogue. I learned my lesson, and next year I wrote much less dialogue, although still quite a bit of dialogue. Nowadays, I am not a dialogue person. No, so I don't know. But This actually, I believe, was my original copy, because I know I had like a couple copies left over at the end, and I had colored them all in. So each one of them had, because there were a couple illustrations in them, and each one of them were colored, except for this one was not. This one's never been colored. And lo and behold, as a special treat, I shall share with you Attack of the Giant Green Fuzzy Thing. By me. Copyright 1982. Chapter 1. Yes, chapters. Chapter 1. George, did you clean out the garage? Mrs. Jones was an immense, pushy woman. Her face was red from yelling at Mr. Jones. You know my mother is coming over today. Yes, dear. His face was covered by a newspaper. Then what's this great big, flip the page, green fuzzy thing doing here? I don't know, dear. Well, I'm going to get rid of it before Mother arrives. Mother always did say you were an ah! 2 exclamation points. That's nice, dear. Could you give me a blanket, please? He extended his arm, waiting for her. I didn't want that shaggy green one, but that's okay. Hey, what the... Ah! 3 exclamation points. And then we have a picture of the fuzzy thing going heh heh heh. Because, you know, he's happy. He just got rid of the Joneses. Now, the next chapter, which I guess would be chapter 2. 3 hours later, the police arrive at the Joneses' house after a neighbor complained of the noise. I guess that was my attempt at social commentary. I wonder if this green hair all over the place means anything, especially the hair sticking out of their mouths, Officer Clay said in his usually calm voice. Nah, they probably just had a party and forgot what they were doing. Clay's partner, Officer Parks, replied as he picked up some of the hair and put it in a bag to be analyzed. Shut up, Parks. Clay walked across the room to where the brown recliner was. This was the chair Mr. Jones died in. I want you to search it. No, not that chair. Parks' eyes were filled with terror. What's wrong with the chair? Officer Clay was rapidly losing patience with his partner. It's Naugahyde, and I think it's so sad that a Nog had to give up its hide to make this chair. A tear was in his eye. There's no such thing as a Nog, Clay shouted. You mean they're extinct? Cried Parks. Clay just shook his head. I think he might have to see a shrink, he thought to himself. Clay, look! It's a giant green fuzzy thing! 1 exclamation point. No doubt about it. He's seeing a shrink, Clay murmured. Why don't you sit down while I call the nice men in the white jackets? Meanwhile, next door, in chapter 3, ding dong! Mike, will you answer the door, please? Shouted a young voice from the kitchen. Okay, honey. The young man walked to the door. Who is it? It's your Avon la! 3 exclamation points. Mike opened the door to see, flipping the page, a dead lady with a blue bag full of perfume. Who was it, honey? Called the voice from the kitchen. Just the Avon lady. And then, look, it's another green fuzzy thing. He likes shampoo. Chapter 4. Officer Clay, are you still here? A short, bald man walked out of the psychiatrist's office. Yes, Dr. Long. What do you think of my partner? To put it in simple terms, he's loony. But I believe he did see a giant green fuzzy thing. You ought to protect yourself against it. Really? Okay, you ought to protect yourself against it. First, let me introduce you to your new partner. A beautiful woman walked in wearing a blue cashmere sweater and designer jeans. Snap, snap. I'm Officer Klein, she said, tossing her hair back. But my friends call me Muffy. Hello, Muffy. Chapter 5? I didn't put chapter headings, so. Officer Clay, why are you parking the police car on top of this hill? She demanded. I want to have some fun, he said, smiling at her. I'm not that kind of girl! Exclamation point. She shouted as she slapped him. I'll make you that kind of girl. He grabbed her and okay, apparently I decided to just write a moment of date rape in here. I don't know where that came from or how that passed. But okay. In Rewriteville, that would be edited out. Okay? So just letting you all know I'm aware. So where was it? I'll make you that kind of girl. He grabbed her and started kissing her passionately. Suddenly, her eyes widened in terror. As well they should. Clay turned around and saw the giant green fuzzy thing. What are we going to do? Muffy screamed. Then Clay reached beside his seat and pulled out an electric razor. I came prepared. He jumped out of the car and attacked the thing. The thing became smaller and smaller, and green hair flew everywhere. Just when Muffy thought it would never end, Clay appeared and said that the thing was dead. Final chapter. Oh, and by the way, here is a picture of Muffy. That's Muffy. And then, final chapter. Well, now, those of you who are listening to it, you're not going to get to see the pictures. I apologize. I don't know why I'm pausing with those pictures, too. It's the artwork of, a 6th grader, so what you going to do? But, so, final chapter. Well, now that the thing is gone, what are we going to do about my sweater? She asked quietly. What's wrong with your sweater? Look, you got green hair all over it. Do you know how long it'll take to get it all out? He smiled at her. No, but I'm willing to find out. Not until we're married. That is, if you will marry me, she said, pushing his hands back. I just might take you up on that offer, he whispered just before he kissed her. Look at the romance! Okay. As you can tell, I have not read this again. You and I are getting to experience it for the first time together. Well, I mean, clearly it's not the first time for me because I wrote it, but first time in years, I'll tell you that. And there's one final picture with the electric razor, and there's a whole bunch of little hairs next to the razor. There's a whole bunch of hairs next to the razor, and they're all mumbling, "Why do you do that? That wasn't nice. Hee hee. Let's attack again." The end. Question mark. And that was Attack of the Giant Green Fuzzy Thing. By me. Copyright 2000. Copyright 2000. Copyright 1982. Copyright renewed 2014. Yeah. Ha. Ha ha ha. I don't think that's how copyright works. But I'm not sure that I need to worry about that story with copyright. Anyway, that is this week's episode. I would like to thank you all for tuning in and sticking around. And I hope you guys have a great day. And Joseph and I will be back to doing this. We have so much TV stuff to catch up with you. You know, there was Walking Dead and there was Doctor Who, and we've been watching The Flash, and we've been watching Arrow, which I don't think we're watching Arrow much longer because, oh my god, what a crappy show that is. And we've been watching other things, so yeah, we gotta catch up with that stuff. Oh, Face Off, we've been watching that. So, be prepared. TV talk. Yeah. Until then, you guys all keep it happy and I will stop shaking the camera. Yeah.
Gloom, despair, and agony on me. Deep, dark depression, excessive misery. If it weren't for bad luck, I'd have no luck at all. Gloom, despair, and agony on me. Gloom, despair, and agony on me. Deep, dark depression, excessive misery. If it weren't for bad luck, I'd have no luck at all. Gloom, despair, and agony on me.
Okay, well, for the closing song, that was Gloom, Despair, and Agony on Me from Hee Haw. For no real reason. Just because. And we just got back from seeing Big Hero 6, so we may be talking about that tomorrow as well. I told you, we got a lot of stuff. So, without any further ado, let's get to it. Well, we're not going to get to that. We're just going to get to the... Well, just stop.